Hey, welcome to Dog Talk Live. We're here today on Facebook as well as YouTube. So we're going to do a double take here, YouTube and Facebook. I did put the last Dog Talk Live from Facebook up onto our podcast, Sporting Dog Adventures. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're hosting it off of the Anchor app, and it's on a bunch of other places. I don't know. They basically do it for you, so I don't have any knowledge of some of these other podcast platforms, but we're getting good views. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Friday. I've got some very excited dogs. We've got a ostrich. I don't know. Anyone like ostrich? Scarlett likes the ostrich. The ostrich is here. It's with the dogs. And I've got Ace, Memphis, and Scarlett here. Ace, do you want to come up and be part of the show today? Come on. All right. This is Ace. He's qualified all age. He's got his master title, finish title. He's got a grand pass. And he's probably the biggest baby that we have in the house. We always say he's a little bit odd because he just likes to sit and stare at people. But hey, that's him. That's his personality. He doesn't seem to mind, so we'll make him a part-time co-host today. We can't take Memphis's job from her, but apparently Ace thinks that he can. Dog Talk Lives are always better when we can get people to submit questions. So please, as you pop in, let us know where you're from. Let us know what questions you have. And let us know what you would like to talk about today. We just had one of our dogs go home. That was ready for his hunting season to start. He went through his 3 months of training. He did great. So it's always fun to have him go home. Ended up doing well. And let's see the rest of the dogs today. We finished up working out of a dog blind today. So basically working with them so that they're steady out of the dog blind and so that they are good to go and getting that part done. Michael's checking in from Michigan. Good to see you. Again, what I do at the dog blind, I set the dog blind up by the pond. It's never about the retrieve. It's about the work out of the blind. So teaching them to kennel, teaching them to stay in the blind until they're released, and then releasing them on their name. Today was giving them a very firm correction with the collar if they did break and come out of the dog blind. I don't even let them poke their head out because I want them to stay completely concealed, getting ready for hunting season. So it was correcting them to a level that was what I would expect of a dog when they're out hunting. We worked with the blind for about a week now, and having them go out, do the retrieves. Again, you always add in more, so you're recalling them with whistle. Again, these dogs are at 7 weeks in training. You're recalling them with your whistle, and then you are making them finish the retrieve to hand, working on your hold. So a lot of different things about control, but today was specifically about that dog blind and just getting them there. It is incredibly hot here. We heat warnings for Wisconsin. I think our heat index is supposed to be over 100, which I'm sure everybody in southern part would probably laugh at, but for us it's hot. So it's working with the dogs, short duration, early, and keeping them generally in water. We got Sergio. He says he's checking in. He says it's been so hot in Lake Havusa. Let me know if I said that right. Arizona. You don't think you'll be able to hunt your dogs until at least the end of October? Yeah, it definitely is too hot to get the dogs out there. Does the heat affect quail? You say you're going to hunt quail. Does hot weather cause the quail to perish at all? I know you look at some of the temperatures here, calling Death Valley, California, to be over 130 degrees. I know people will try to use the phrase dry heat to make it sound like it's not so bad. I try to do the same here in Wisconsin. When it's like 20 below, I say it's a dry cold, but everyone knows that's BS. Hot is hot. That is just so hot. Our co-host is here, Memphis. Oh, nope, she wants her butt scratched first before she makes her appearance up onto Dog Talk Live, and she will get there. Let's see, Liz Rice. Hi, Jeff, checking in from Central Ohio. Our yellow labs are great. Duck and goose dog, he lives for it. At what age do labs typically begin to slow down with their hunting, or is it on the individual? Liz, I was just talking to the guy today that picked his dog up. His dog is 9 months old, going home for hunting, and we were talking about hunting. And I said, when your dog gets to be about 8 years old, I would start working on getting a pup. Thought process being, your prime years are usually between 3 to about 8. And then the dogs can start slowing down. Could they before then? That's incumbent on you as far as making sure your dogs are in shape before season and making sure that they have no extra weight on them. You'll get so much more longevity out of your dogs if you have them at a good weight and a healthy weight. But then as they're getting older too, at least take them out and walk them. I always say I can get the fat off the dogs as well as myself by doing this. But you want to keep in mind that an older dog, if you aren't at least conditioning them so that they're in shape, you can have injuries that will happen because of it. So be smart for your dogs so that they are in a position to succeed. And then if you get a younger dog, and let's say that dog is ready for hunting at 9, at 9 years old, I'm very much watching the dogs. If I'm upland hunting them, I'm probably not hunting them for as long. If I've got hunts that are in very heavy mud, I will probably err on taking the young dog and really try to put them in a position where I'm doing what's right for them health-wise. Oh, Memphis is done with the butt rub. So she has decided to now come up. Oh boy, kiss my face and say hi. She really kind of, Dog Talk Lives, I wish she was more social. It's more about her getting my attention, I guess, and getting it from everybody. She doesn't say, Scarlett's biting me. Oh my goodness. This is probably one of the wilder Dog Talk Lives I've had, guys. I can you see Scarlett's face? Says she's got my hand. Yeah, it's one of the more rambunctious Dog Talk Lives we have. Memphis is, she's due August 10th. So she is pregnant. I think she's going through a nesting phase and trying to nest on my lap. But again, please let me know what questions you guys have on this wonderful Friday. We do these Dog Talk Lives a couple times a week. I'm not doing them as often because we have our podcast, Sporting Dog Adventures podcast, that we will usually share one of our Dog Talk Lives as a Q&A. We also are putting our podcast out where we have standalone episodes. I don't really have a set number that I'm going to do. I just come up with a topic and go from there. The last couple of topics, British Labs versus American Field Line Labs, and then Ecollar versus no Ecollar in training. The Ecollar one brought an interesting conversation with a gentleman that is a British Lab person that does not use Ecollars. And I have trained nice English lines or British lines. I've trained nice American Field lines. I've trained bad of both that I looked at, and I'm like, my goodness, it's not a very nice dog. The big thing that I look at and that I was discussing with this person, I very much don't think it's fair when these people are saying you don't need an e-collar to train a dog, but yet it's taking you 2 to 3 times the time amount or the time amount to train a dog. With that being said, I train a dog in 3 months to a gun dog level, and a lot of these other places, they're saying they don't need an e-collar, but at the same time, it's taking them 6 to 9 months to train a dog to a gun dog level. I look at that as, one, you're never going to have the control of the dog if you're not using something that you can reinforce them at distance, my personal belief. But the other thing is you're hosing your clients out of a lot of money. So that was an interesting conversation with the person. The other thing, I've yet to find anyone that is not running e-collars on their dogs that are running their dogs to a master level on any basis, even a consistent basis or even a rare basis. So that was my question was, do you run your dogs in competition? I often then will get I run the dogs for the love of the game. I don't run competition. Well, I mean, you should be putting out an animal that can run hunt tests, in my opinion. Does it mean that both parents have to have titles? No, I don't at all myself. Our dogs, when we're putting our dogs out, our females live in homes. So generally speaking, our homes we just look for a loving place. They will untrain the dogs if you're trying to train them to like a master level. So it's not something that would work. At the same time, our males are master titled or finished titled or above, so that they are showing their ability. And then you look back in the pedigrees of our dogs, and they have lots of ability showing that their descendants accomplished much in the field. So again, that was a conversation we had on our podcast that led to a back and forth a little bit on another page here on Facebook. That was interesting to me. I mean, it's always fascinating. If I've got someone that is running dogs competitively without e-collars, hey, I would love to hear about it. I'm not against changing training methods. I'll always use an e-collar because, quite honestly, again, it allows you to progress, in my opinion, much faster and have control at a dog at distance. But every year I change something in how I do. I know there's certain training that only use e-collars for force fetch. And I actually did a blended thing where I started with the dogs on the force fetch table where you do something called ear pinch. Did that for a week and then transitioned to the collar. And what I did for me, it worked out really well with the dogs this year. I mean, I feel like my second group of dogs, it's holy crap, did they progress fast. So it is always where I never say I'm the expert of anything because I can always learn something different. So it's just kind of fascinating to have different topics and different conversations. And that is what our podcast is going to be like and about. We have a dog type topic. We always have a training tip, and then we're going to have a hunting tip on it. It's not heavily, I guess, subsidized by sponsors because, quite honestly, it doesn't cost me anything to produce it. So there's no cost for me. And after running the gambit for 9 years with the TV show, I'm not that overly interested in having something that I am worried about hitting certain levels with. We do have a couple of companies that we work with, Mech Outdoors, as well as Boucher Automotive, that is here locally in my hometown area, and they're sponsors on our show. We have it still up. We're running reruns on Madison channel. But yeah, as far as the podcast, it's just a fun thing for me to do. It helps me, I guess, fills my void for not having the TV show anymore, so I can put content out there and really try to help people get involved in the sport that I love with dogs and dogs in the field, which is what this is about. So I know it's Friday. Everyone is sitting there. I'm doing really good on my own here, blabbing away. Give me some questions. I'd love to help you guys out with some questions to help you with your dogs, give you some stuff to work on. For stuff to work on this year or for the rest of this year before hunting, you can always work on obedience. Take your dogs out, work with them on steadiness so that they're not leaving until you give them the command to retrieve. Work with them on finishing the retrieve. Work with them if you're doing upland. If it's not as hot, you can work with them on distancing so that you can work in your recall and release when dogs are coming in. When I'm working with dogs on upland, I will tell them or call them back in if they get out too far, and then I release them with the hunted up command. I don't yell hunted up to the dogs as they're out hunting because I think that really can take their perseverance at times. But I do work with them on just their distance and how far they can go out. If we're in a field where we're doing upland hunting, you could put bumpers out to work on that. You could put dead birds out. Just fun drills that you can do to get your dogs so that, one, again, you're working on conditioning, and two, you're working in on control so that they're ready for the season. Dog Talk Lives usually go between 15 and 30 minutes. We try to keep them in that shorter range, so it is not me droning on. And again, we try to do this a couple times a week. Right now we're at 14 minutes, so we're going to give a last call on questions. If you guys have any questions, please put them up. If you're watching this after, you can absolutely always, on YouTube, put a question in as a comment and we'll answer it. Or here on Facebook, if you put a question in, I always come back and check our Dog Talk Lives just to make sure that we don't have any questions that we missed. So again, if you're not watching this live, please put your question up. We will come back and look at it and try to give you as honest of an answer that we can. I've been doing this since 1998 now, so I guess quite a while. Professionally training dogs since my law enforcement career ended in 2006. it's something that is fun. It's working with dogs. It is learning with the dogs and getting to meet a lot of great people like yourselves. So anytime that we can help people out a little bit, we're more than happy to. We've got a litter of pups going home this weekend. Everyone loves our go home videos. We always do kind of a funny go home video. So watch this weekend. We'll have one up here on the Sporting Dog Adventures page. I'm going to start putting the go home videos up on YouTube as well. What the heck? So yeah, we'll have them on both formats. But let's see here. You got Kirk. Jeff Kirkeen. Imperial Retrievers. I couldn't agree with you more regarding how much precisely and quickly a retrieve can be trained using a collar. I came up with a strictly non-collar methods and eventually saw advantages of car-based methods. By the way, all my personal dogs are UK breed bloodlines and trained. So Kirk, my question for you then is, are you not using a collar at all on your training? I used to not use a retrieve collar on force fetch. But my other question is, are you running your dogs professionally or in competitive type atmospheres with hunt tests? The one thing that I hear from people that are not using collars on dogs is always, I train for the love of the dog. My opinion on that is that that's BS, that you should have a dog that should be able to run a competition. So that is what I had asked and where I'm looking at. Again, I've seen dogs that are wonderful field lines or wonderful British lines and wonderful field lines. I've seen bad on both too. So to me, it's not about the actual stock, but to me, you need to have dogs that are titled in your lineage so that you're showing that ability. The way I explain it to people is it would be the same when you're looking at pedigrees with 5 generations of titles. If you're looking at a puppy coming out of 2 dogs that have those wonderful lineages, it would be the same as my wife and I saying that we want to have a professional athlete as a child, but yet neither of us were ever a professional athlete. If you were then turning around and you're taking 2 people that are professional athletes or 2 people that are Olympians, if they had a child, their child would be much more predisposed to being an athlete than our child would be. So that's kind of how I look at it with breeding. I do think that when you're breeding, there is something to be said for not breeding 2 dogs that are I guess too hot as far as bouncing off the walls. I think there can be breedings that are bred almost like horse racing, where you're only breeding for competition and not as pets. So I do think that is absolutely something. But again, I look at it as, can your dogs run a hunt test and do well in it? I guess that would be my question. So, and please, if you can, type it up. Otherwise, we're going to call it here. Again, Kirk, more than happy to discuss it as we after the live, if you don't put anything up now. So please don't, if we end the live, don't not comment. Again, not trying to rip on anybody. I just look at it as what I do when I breed. So that is what I'm discussing. So again, if anyone has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we are going to call it for Dog Talk Live today. Please put comments up, put questions up. We will come back and answer them at any time. I hope you guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. Get out with your dogs. Enjoy them. Remember, it's hot. Do what's safe for them. God bless.